Good morning. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Very good. So who can tell me what we're going to talk about today? We talked about the right cuff last week, but that's right. Oh, Presbyter, I didn't think you all were going to think of a distinction between the right cuff and the left cuff, but you're right. We have the right cuff that we talked about last week, and the left cuff, we'll talk about it today, but only a little bit, because it's kind of contained and summed up in the right cuff. Let's review before we start. What's this called? The sticharion, the robe. It represents the baptismal robe, and it is the basic garment of every priest, every deacon, and every bishop, and every altar boy. What you're wearing is a sticharion. What's this called? Epitrachilion, the thing that goes on the neck. Or if you want to say an English word, you say stole. Right. But can we say epitrachilion? Epitrachilion. Say it with me. Epitrachilion. Say it again. Good. What's this? The belt. And in Greek, what is the belt? Zoni. The right cuff in Greek is the epimanikion, or the epimanikon, the thing that goes on the hand. It's a very creative name. Or you can just say cuff. And then the one on the left. So together they are the epimanikia or the epimanika. So there's two of them. Now, the prayer for this one we said is, your right hand, O Lord, is glorious in power. So we're talking about the right hand of God. The prayer for this one, when the priest puts it on, he says, your hands, O Lord, have made me and fashioned me, enlightened me, that I may learn your commandments. So the priest is remembering who made him, who gave him a job to do, and asking for his blessings and his strength and his wisdom to proceed with that work. So it's a nice little thing to do, but it's kind of summed up in the right cuff, because otherwise the priest would be asymmetrical. What does asymmetrical mean? He would be lopsided. He would have a cuff on the one hand and not on the other, and that would be funny, right? Yeah. Okay, good. The next two vestments are vestments that I don't have the right to wear, but I'll show them to you anyway, because they're interesting. Have you ever seen one of these before? It looks like it, doesn't it? I've also heard it called the holy hot pad, like the thing that you would put a hot plate on. But that's not what it is. It has a little string, and the priest would put it around his neck, and it would hang down about to here. And then it's an extra piece of vestment. It's called the epigonation. It's another creative word. What do you think epigonation means? What was that? That's right. It's the thing that goes by the knee. So, another creative thing. Now, here's the prayer, and I don't have this one memorized because I don't wear this. So let's see what the prayer says. It's an interesting prayer. It says, gird your sword upon your thigh, mighty one, in your comeliness and your beauty, and make ready, and bring prosperity, and reign, because of truth and meekness and righteousness, and your right hand shall guide you wondrously. This is a prayer for a king who's putting on his royal sword and going out to do battle, to give justice, to conquer the enemies and secure the people. It doesn't quite make sense for a priest, does it? Well, let me explain. What used to happen in the Byzantine Empire would be that after a soldier or someone important had done a significant job, they'd done a good work, they would be honored with a special thing that they would wear. They would be given a ceremonial sword that they could wear around, something that the emperor gave them themselves. Think of a later period when the king is knighting the knight and so forth, this kind of thing. But they got a fancy sword to wear with all of their fancy clothes when they were in the emperor's court. And because with all their robes they might trip on this fancy sword, they got a little square thing that hung about at their knee, that protected their legs and the robes from being knocked and tangled up in this sword. And that was the origin of the epigonation. So, when a priest did something special, a particular service to the church, or maybe to the emperor, he couldn't be given a sword because the priest is a man of peace. He doesn't hit people, and he certainly doesn't cut people with a sword. But they would give him the epigonation to give him the honor. Now that's the job that the epigonation has today. I don't have the right to wear it because I haven't earned it yet. The epigonation is given to a priest who has served for more than 4 years usually. I'm only 4 years a priest, who has done good work in a parish or for the bishop, and therefore he is honored with the gift of the epigonation. And that's what it became to be. The reason that it did that is that once the priests were wearing these things, it doesn't have a function to keep a sword from knocking into their knees because they're not wearing a sword. So they would build little pouches into these things, and for a little while the priest would bring his credentials, the letter that was signed by his bishop saying, you're allowed to be a priest, because a priest is not allowed to be a priest by himself. He always has to have the permission of the bishop to do any work that he does. So he would carry the letter that says, dear anyone to whom it may concern, I, the bishop of such and such a city, have given Father Anthony the permission to serve as a priest in my parishes. Don't pester him and do what he says to do. Or something like that. So that would go in here. Also, since there was a pouch, sometimes the priest would put a little bit of money in there. And then when he saw someone who was in need, he would give them the charity of the church. So there's an interesting thing. We say, gird your sword on your thigh, Almighty One, but the sword of the priest is the mercy and the charity of the church. Not a sword to destroy, but instead a blessing, right? Now, the important thing to understand from the epigonation is that the priest always has to have permission. He's not by himself. He is serving as a representative of the bishop. Now, you're going to have a change of priests in a couple weeks. I am moving. The bishop is taking me and sending me to another parish, and he's bringing Father Jerry back to serve in the parish for a little while he looks for another priest to send. Okay? You should be happy because all of the vestments that the priest wears show that he is the representative of the bishop. But the epigonation, which Father Jerry has, and I don't, is the special sign of the permission and the honor of the bishop given to the priest, of the authority that the priest has and the responsibility to lead the people and to take care of them. You're not losing your priest, you're coming with me. So, any questions? So what is this again? Can you say the name? Epigonation. Let's all hear it. Say it. Epigonation. One more time. And it goes next to the knee, and it is a sign of honor for a priest who has served for a long time and done something special. But it shows above all the permission of the bishop for the priest to serve, which is important, because otherwise we couldn't do anything. One final thing, I still have the permission of the bishop to serve, even though I don't have this, because there is a little cloth underneath the chalice, and on the cloth is the bishop's signature, which says the priest here is allowed to serve the liturgy. So let's all stand up and receive communion together.